Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this here, our first session of Bardic Quest. This is a show where British trained actors tell fantastical improvised stories through the medium of D&D. If you're new to Dungeons and Dragons, welcome. You're going to have quite a lot of fun, I think. And if you've been looking to get into Dungeons and Dragons, but don't have the time or a group to play with, then strap yourself in and enjoy the ride vicariously through us. If, however, you are not new to Dungeons and Dragons, then please don't get hung up on the rules. Just enjoy the show. We're just going to have a good time and tell a good story. And of course, if you are familiar with any of the lore surrounding D&D, again, please don't get hung up on that. We're going to be establishing our own canon. We might acknowledge some of the history around the lore of D&D, but we might choose to completely ignore some of the other stuff as well. So just focus on having fun and enjoying the ride. Also, unlike a lot of Dungeons and Dragons shows that you might have seen, we won't be releasing our entire D&D session in one go. We're going to be chopping it down to 30 to 45-minute episodes, just so it's easier for you to consume and you don't have to carve out 4 hours of your life to keep up with us. So it should be a little bit easier for you in that respect. So with that out of the way, we have most of the cast here. We are missing a couple of people so they can remain enigmatic individuals for now. But we have a few of the cast members with us for this first session. I don't know, guys, if you want to be all cheesy and awkward about it and just do an introduction of yourself and just highlight yourself and your name and the name of your character as well.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Isaac. I'm an actor. I'm based in the south of England, and I'm going to be playing the dwarf cleric Thoric for this Bardic Quest.
Exciting. Who wants to go next?
Hi, I'm Anina Kaski, and I'll be playing Saga, the human fighter.
And I think that just leaves you.
Yes, I. Hello, I'm James Bryan. I'm an actor and a writer from the north of England, and I shall be playing Sergei the Whaler Petrovich, who is a halfling bard.
Exciting. Okay. Right. Before we get started, by the way, guys, I've kept a little secret from you. Let me see if I can find it. Who would like to see our opening credit sequence?
Totally. Yeah. Go for it.
An opening credit sequence.
Yes. Hang on. I had meant to preload this, but I didn't.
The production value.
Well, I can't take full credit.
There's a part of me that really wanted to be like sock puppets.
Have you been keeping an eye on what I've been doing?
Your spare time.
Yeah.
Just spoiling the surprise. Okay. Right. I am going to share this with you then.
I love it.
I thought you'd like that.
That's so good.
I can hardly take any of the credit for that. There's a guy called James Webster who does animated artwork for D&D stuff. He has a Patreon, so I'll put a link in the description and stuff for everybody to support him. But he graciously, I've never met the guy. I sent him a message, said, I found your stuff. I want an opening credit sequence. Will you let me use your stuff? He said, yes, of course. Just link to my Patreon. So
Amazing.
I edited that
Thank you,
together.
James.
Yes,
Thank you, James.
Thank you, James.
Okay. I thought you'd like that. I deliberately kept that secret from you because
That was a nice secret.
yes, I as a DM, I'm the sort of person that loves a good secret. So
Ooh.
Some are good, some are bad.
Yeah.
They were terrifying.
Okay, right. Welcome to the land of Faerun. The year is 1489 by Dale reckoning. And on the roads and rivers of this land travel minstrels, peddlers, merchants, guards, soldiers, sailors, and of course, steel-hearted adventurers carrying tales of strange, glorious, faraway places. Good maps and clear trails can take even an inexperienced youth with dreams of glory far across the world. Thousands of restless would-be heroes from backcountry farmsteads and sleepy villages arrive in great cities every year in search of wealth and renown. Known roads may be well-travelled, but they aren't necessarily safe. Fell magic, deadly monsters, and cruel local rulers are all perils that you face when you travel these realms. Even farms and freeholds within a day's walk of a city can fall prey to monsters, and no place is safe from the sudden wrath of a dragon. Our adventure takes place in the region known as the Sword Coast. This is a region of adventure where daring souls delve into the wreckage of ancient strongholds and explore ruins of long-lost cultures amid a wilderness of jagged, snow-capped peaks, alpine forests, lawlessness, and monsters. This coast holds the greatest bastions of civilization. You meet in a tavern. But this is not a tavern like any other. Based in the docks of the famed city of Neverwinter, this tavern was previously an infamous pirating vessel, now beached in its docking area. This is the tavern known as the Beached Leviathan, which has become a hotspot for drinking, gambling, and business activity in the city of Neverwinter. Indeed, you are here because you have heard whispers and rumours that a dwarf named Gundren Rockseeker will be here tonight, seeking the services of brave folk for some exciting work, and whatever your motives, it piqued your interest. You arrived at the Beached Leviathan and entered its hold under the watchful gaze of an enormous male half-orc bouncer. The weathered exterior of this retired sailing vessel concealed a magnificent interior, decorated in fine oak and cherry woodwork, albeit well scarred, you assume, from years of bar fights and drunken vandals. Old nautical lanterns and fishing nets decorate the walls amid the remains of amphibious skulls and the carapaces of giant crabs. Tables and chairs adorn the left-hand side of the hold as you enter, with large tables being situated at the back near the bow of the old ship. The right-hand side of the hold is dominated by the bar, which is being tended by 4 female humans, one middle-aged and the others much younger. The tavern is lively tonight, full of dwarves and humans and a handful of other common races of people that you might expect, as well as a few of the less familiar, such as the large reptilian man playing a flute to the punters. Would you all like to take a moment to describe your character and what they are currently doing in the tavern before we go full hog into what you might do next?
Well, Thoric is a mountain dwarf. He's roughly about middle-aged for a dwarf, so nearly in his sort of 2nd century. He's got a great black, shaggy, massive hair, which he ties up in a big top knot on the back of his head. He's got this great badger beard, which has got stripes of black and silver through it. He's wearing quite simple garb, but a few adornments. So he's wearing basically a tunic of kind of like rough, like dark leather, like a sort of gambeson over his chainmail. Not poor, but certainly not richly oriented. Probably a few notable things. He has quite a lot of silver rings in his ears. He also has, like those kind of double, sort of almost knuckle duster rings between two fingers, engraved with dwarven symbols across his knuckles. On his hip, he has a large warhammer, simple but definitely heavy looking. Probably the most fine thing he carries is a very large circular dwarven shield with runes set around the edge and two interlinked silver rings, free sort of falling on the front of the shield itself, that kind of like clink and rattle as he moves it. He's probably by the bar, just holding probably like a 2-pint tankard of good ale, which he's knocking back far too easily. You see his sort of scarred and calloused hands from years of work. And he's just sort of surveying the room, just taking it in quite quietly. He's quite happy where he is. Just plunks it down and continues to survey everything around him.
Okay. Who's next?
So, Saga walks in. She is about 5'7", human. She's got long blonde hair that's braided up in a very intricate braids off her face and then falls at the back. And on her face, you see sort of tribal-esque black makeup, almost war paint-esque. She definitely wants to look threatening rather than attractive. And she's wearing different shades of brown, very, again, sort of has a slight tribal feel to it. Everything's well kept, but kind of mishmashed. So some pieces seem very expensive and very sought after, and then some are really plain. So she's got a cape over her chainmail and loads of leather straps holding everything in. But she has this really fine cloak with a really, really nice, obviously expensive fur trim, and it really doesn't, nothing really goes together, nothing suits. She's heavily armored, really long sword on her warhammer, and she has a very severe expression on her face. She's early 30s, though she looks kind of both young and old at the same time. So she's got really, really big eyes, but she does look like she's seen a lot. So it might be hard to place her age, but just for the audience, she is 32. And she's uncomfortable with so many people in a room, but she goes to the bar. She goes to the bar towards the ladies, and just asks for a mead.
Very good. Which leaves you, Mr. James.
Sergey. Sergey is a halfling. He's not looking very good for himself. He's obviously rather small, standing just under 3 foot, just maybe a bit over that. He's got a little red cap on. It's floppy, and it kind of covers his windswept and shaggy light brown matted hair. He's got a weathered face, scars across his kind of chin and around his lips area, a very mean looking face as well, and he's kind of wearing this like old loose tunic-y style thing, which is kind of patted down by bits of leather armor, and he's got some boots on, but they appear to be missing where the toes are, and his like very hairy toes are poking out as he comes flopping in, covered in sand, slightly drenched from water, very out of breath, not quite sure, not quite fitting in, I suppose, kind of a bit not quite there, looking around, very panicked would be the word. On his back, he's got his little backpack, and he carries a lute in there as well, a tiny little lute, with a rapier, a tiny rapier down by his side as well. And I suppose he would come in and quickly try and find a big crowd of people and disperse and hide amongst them with urgency.
Oh, nice. Okay. So as I mentioned, you're here to because you've heard word that this Gundren Rock Seeker is going to be, who's a dwarf, is going to be seeking adventurers for work. Is there anything that you'd like to do in particular upon your arrival to the Beach Leviathan? Or are you all going to mind your own business for the time being?
You say we knew what race this Gundren Rockseeker was?
Yes, he's a dwarf.
Okay. Can I look around for any dwarfs?
Sure, yeah. You do see there is a quite conveniently actually stood right next to Saga at the bar, propping up the bar, quite a hunched over dwarf sat at the bar with a pet monkey on his shoulder, and he's sat drinking some wine. Saga, you will have seen him as well. It's definitely not his first wine that he's been drinking, but that is the dwarf that stands out from the crowd for you there, James.
Do I recognize him? Does Saga recognize him?
Not unless you've frequented the Beach Leviathan before.
No, but I would have met Gundren before, so this is not Gundren.
This is not Gundren.
Okay.
Could I?
I'm distracted by the little monkey.
But
I think
of course.
Saga kind of tries to like maybe tempt it with a little piece of bread.
And the monkey obliges, of course.
Yeah.
Food is very welcome in a monkey's belly, even a more human monkey's. So he stands out to you, Sergei, as a certainly a character in amongst the dwarves that are here. The rest
I kind of approach and linger nearby, trying to eavesdrop on anything that's going on around this dwarf.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So you kind of loiter. Are you going to loiter very close to him, like prop up the bar? Or
Yeah, I think Sergei tries to loiter secretly, but it does actually stands out with a certain smell. He probably doesn't smell very well. Probably lingers a little too close to him, maybe.
What does he smell of?
He smells of whelks and oysters and what else could he smell of? Fire, like the fireplace, soot, maybe a bit of mold and moisture and damp. Yeah, doesn't smell great really. BO.
Fish and
yummy.
BO.
Fish and BO.
Yum.
And what about Thoric? What's Thoric going to do?
Well, he's probably had quite a busy day. He's been volunteering in the hospitals in the city, just kind of. He came out to try and make use of himself. He was sick of the politics of his hometown, so he's probably had a hard day pulling arrows, setting bones, and just generally dealing with the sick and sickly of the city. So he's probably just quite enjoying having a beer after a hard day's work. He's definitely a kind of work hard, play hard kind of guy. So, maybe kind of politely catching people's eyes, sort of watching maybe card games going on, and maybe just sort of watching a game go on, maybe making sure everyone's playing fairly by the rules of the game. Because he will say something if they're not.
Right. But of course. So, Sergei, you loiter around this this drunken-looking dwarf. He mainly mumbles to himself and to his monkey, who you think, from what you overhear, the monkey's name you suspect may just simply be Monkey.
Clever.
Because he doesn't seem to refer to it as anything but monkey, if he refers to it at all, in amongst his drunken ramblings. But you don't really pick up on anything of significance that he's saying, more kind of complaining about things that don't really make much sense to you, but he doesn't seem to be overly happy at all.
Okay. I'm gonna... Can I just approach him and ask if he is Gundren Rockseeker?
Okay, sure.
Hello, are you Mr. Rockseeker? Never mind, and I'll back away.
He kind of gives you a long stare. You're not sure if he's staring at you or at your shoulder, and maybe a little bit of fluff that might be on your shoulder. And he kind
There's a lot of stuff that's just
gives
lying
you a
on me.
long look.
I would like to stare back.
Okay. For any particular reason?
Just
Just
maybe
to suss him out, or
Sergey
just-
mistakes this is a little staring contest between the two.
Okay. He kind of stares more, his eyes glazing over more and more the longer that this staring contest goes on for. And then he kind of mumbles to himself, and then just almost as if still looking at you, turns and just looks into his wine with exactly the same expression that he was looking at you with.
Probably not Rockseeker.
So Saga would have seen this staring competition and gone, how do you know Gundren, halfling?
Depends who is asking.
Well, I'm asking right here in front of you.
And you would be
Saga.
Sergey. Sounds similar.
How do you know Gundren?
I do not necessarily know this man, but I am in need of work, and urgently.
Curious. I thought this was a solo mission.
I thought it might have been also. But it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
You as well.
May I get you drink?
I'm fine, thank you.
Very good.
I haven't seen Gundren yet. Hopefully he can answer some questions.
No,
soon.
do you know who we are looking for?
Yes.
Okay, good, because I have absolutely no idea.
Oh, for Christ's sake. I'll point him out when I see him.
That is good. What do you recommend? Are there any good drinks here?
The mead is fine.
Could you help me up to stool, please?
Okay. And she kind of just grabs him by the scruff of the neck and goes, "Doof."
Thank you. Very much appreciated.
And then she wipes her hand on her cloak.
Yes. Can't tell if it's wet or BO.
Ugh.
Excuse me, could I have one mead, please?
And one of the young barmaids she kind of almost runs over with excitement to serve you, and then kind of hits a wall of smell, and she nods politely and then goes and sorts out some mead for you, returning a few seconds later and kind of putting it on the bar, but kind of trying to put it on the bar with keeping as much distance between herself and you, and just backing away quite quickly.
They have
and
very
moving
fast
to the
service
other
here. I would like to drink the mead, please, while also kind of looking over my shoulder towards the door.
Okay. So you pick up your tankard of mead, and you just as you put it to your lips, the door is kicked open by an unusually jubilant dwarf sporting a great big bushy brown beard, who announces, "A round of drinks for everyone!" And then the dwarf just strolls over to the bar, just a little bit further down from you, and produces the largest ruby you've ever seen and slams it down onto the bar, almost as a form of payment. And then the tavern erupts with cheers and people rush over. And following quite quietly behind the dwarf is a stern human male, probably in his 50s, with an enormous broadsword, clearly not a man to be trifled with. And you kind of catch him roll his eyes at the exorbitant behavior of his comrade, but silently stands guard without really saying anything. And then once he slams the ruby down and the cheers have calmed down, the dwarf bellows, "I'm looking for stalwart men and women to share an adventure, guiding my caravan south along the high road to the sun-swept foothills of the Sword Mountains. 10 gold to a man. For all those with brave hearts and good character, may fortune be ever in your future." And then he kind of turns and necks a thing of beer and kind of goes about his evening, waiting really for people to approach and sign up.
So this is Gundren.
Is this your man?
Yes, it is Gundren.
Yes, that's him.
Good. I'd like to hop down and head straight over to him.
Just as you hop down from your stool, the door bursts open again. This time a middle-aged human man covered from head to toe in muck and smelling not too dissimilar to you, Sergei, actually.
Oh, shit.
He kicks in the door and yells, "I need 10 blokes to help me shovel some shit out of the mosquito-infested swamp north of the town. The pay is 5 silver a day." And he kind of walks in with the same gusto, but with much different reaction.
So Saga slowly sort of walks towards Gundren, kind of expectantly being like, "Well," the expression is, "Well, I'm here," but she doesn't say anything.
Okay, sure. Thoric, what were you going to do?
Just sort of like watching this display, kind of sips his beer and just kind of goes, "That figures." And he hops down from his stool, hefts his shield over his shoulder, and also starts heading towards this very loud Gundren Rockseeker.
So you all kind of converge on Gundren very quickly. He's whilst he's very excited at the prospects of his job, he's almost taken aback by the speed at which he's quickly surrounded by you three strange, unusual-looking characters. And he kind of looks at you and he goes, "Well met, friends. You can pour out that watery swill that you're drinking. A round of proper dwarven stout for you guys, I think." And he kind of beckons one of the barmaids over, and he says, "I'm declaring this a celebration."
Well, very kind of you. What are we celebrating?
He takes a moment, and you kind of see the excitement almost get the better of him, before he kind of stops himself, and he says, "Well, you almost got me there, but I'm not going to talk about it here. There's too many ears, about, if you can catch my meaning. But suffices to say that if business goes down well in Phandelver, then there'll be so much gold to go around, you'll be wetting your shop clothes."
Well, that does sound interesting.
Where shall we go then?
I beg your pardon?
You said not to talk here. So shall we go somewhere where we can talk?
Well, let me ask you a few things first. What is it exactly that brings you all the way to Neverwinter?
I wanted to try something new. And as you know, I'm a very good fighter.
Oh, well, if your reputation does indeed precede you, then yes.
I find myself a bit short on money. That's all.
Ah, well, there'll be plenty of that to go around. If all goes well, of course. And what about you, halfling man?
Hello.
What brings you here?
I just need money.
Figures. And what about you, kinsman?
Well, I found I was getting a bit too comfortable, a bit too soft in the middle, sitting around listening to the politics in Mirabar. So I asked leave of my high priestess to come and make use of myself out into the road. And, well, for now I'll be following where my feet take me. Sounds as good a place as any to be here.
Priestess?
I'm follow the great dwarven mother Berenar Truesilver, the dwarven goddess. I'm a Fëanor, or cleric, as you say in this tongue.
Not met many magic users in my time. Or
Well,
holy people.
less of the holy. I like to think I just have these two hands and try to do what I can. You look like you can handle yourself pretty well.
I've made it this far.
And sorry, what? Thoric's sort of sensitive to poison and disease knows. Has someone had a limb go gangrenous or something? What is that smell?
I think that's the man who just walked in. He smells quite bad.
Thoric kind of looks and says, and sniffs a little bit more and gets the gist of where it may be coming from. Says, well, it's nice to meet you as well.
It is nice to meet you too. I am Sergi.
Thoric.
Raise my hand while also opening my armpit.
A massive, like, dwarven fist, like, just moves your knuckles around in your hand as he grips very strongly.
You have very firm grip.
I've been told. And you? What do they call you?
Saga.
Old Miss Saga.
You as well.
He offers a hand to Saga.
She takes it.
Come. And probably feels the... Oh. Well.
So Gundren is kind of watching this exchange between you with great interest, and he says, so, Saga, as we know, you are renowned for your fighting abilities, which may come in useful, you never know. And Thoric, you are a priest, was it?
Well, I like to think of myself as more of a chaplain of the cause, a simple healer. I like to think that the goddess moves through me, but I can also stitch a wound and brace a bum leg.
Well, that'll also be very, very useful. And you, sorry, your name was
Sergi.
Yes, Sergey. What skills do you bring to the table exactly?
Believe it or not, I can sing very good lullaby.
Right.
And if all else fails, the chemical warfare is potent.
I do not understand any of that sentence you said, but I agree.
So you could act almost as a repellent, I suppose, from nasty beasties.
Yes, many beasties run away from me.
Yes, I could understand that. You are quite intimidating.
Yes.
So, so listen up, right? So me and Sildar here, and he points over to the man with the broadsword in his 50s. We are going to be leaving for Phandelver in the morning. We've got some business down there that's a mite urgent. An associate of mine is putting together a cartload of supplies that we'll be needing, but the cart won't be ready until the day after tomorrow. So what do you say to bringing it down to Phandelver for us? And you know, of course, I'll make it worth your while. 10 gold for each of you for the trouble.
Cool.
Sure, sounds easy.
And if I might ask, what are these? What business do you have in Phandelver?
Well, as I said, I don't really want to talk about it here because so many ears about and whatnot. But suffice it to say that once we meet in Phandelver, we'll be able to explain a hell of a lot more as to what's going on, and there might be, well, I should think most definitely there'll be some more work in it for you once we get down there. It's about 3 days travel from here, I'd say.
Sounds fine by me. I'm certainly not busy currently, and I'd like to be busier. Idle hands and all that.
Well, quite right. And Saga, does this sound up your street?
Well, I'll escort you to Phandelver, but I'm not promising I'll join in anything further than that.
I think that's fair.
We'll see. We'll see.
I'm sure once you hear what we're working on, you'll be very excited to get involved. And Sergey.
Yes. I'm not one for pulling carts. I'm not a land folk, but I'll definitely help as best I can.
Right. Well, that's very good. Right. So, if we, as I say, we'll head off tomorrow morning, and if we meet you in Phandelver in about 3 or 4 days' time, and we'll pay you then, and we'll discuss further business arrangements after that. Sound good?
Sounds fair to me.
Whereabouts in Phandelver shall we find you?
Well, if you meet me at Barthen's Provisions, there's a chap there who I've got an agreement with, and he'll take in the supplies. You're going to need to meet with a friend of mine called Milo Goodbarrel in the Seven Sons Costa Market here in Neverwinter in a couple of days' time. He's putting together the cart of provisions for you, well, for me, but for you. And he's putting that together, and he'll give you a couple of oxen as well to send the cart on its way. And yes, we'll meet you at Barthen's Provisions in Phandelver, all being well.
At the seven, what was it again, sorry?
The Seven Sons Coster Market. Very easy to find. Just ask a few people if you've not been before, they'll point you in the right direction.
Great.
And we go there in few days, yes?
The day after tomorrow. Aye.
Day after tomorrow.
So meet Milo tomorrow?
No, the day after tomorrow. We'll be going to Phandelver tomorrow. You meet him the day after tomorrow, and then you make your way down. We'll meet you at Phandelver in 3 or 4 days' time.
That's what I said.
That's what I thought you said. I just thought I'd make sure.
Aye. Thoric's just kind of waving a hand slightly impatiently, just like, yeah. How old is Gundren?
Gundren is, he's a young dwarf in the sense of, on the cusp of being middle-aged, so classified as young adult, but, fast approaching middle-aged.
Thoric's probably a bit older than him and therefore is doing that thing like, yeah.
Yeah. Calm down, young pup.
All right, sir.
Okay. So Gundren kind of necks his drink. Sildar necks his drink. And he says, right, plenty to do. We shall see you in a few days' time in Phandelver. Do send my regards to Milo, of course.
Of course.
We shall see you then.
And he strolls off out of the tavern, very pleased with his business arrangement with you, and feeling very, very confident as to the prospects in his future.
He certainly likes to splash his cash, doesn't he?
Yes. Far too flashy for my liking, but
What was that he put on the counter? Was that big gemstone or something?
I didn't see.
a ruby, I think.
Must be
Well.
pretty big if he is hiring us and he already has so much money.
Absolutely. Well, if you're after money, son, then I think you're certainly going to find it with him.
Maybe money, maybe just need a free ticket out of this shithole.
There's worse places than this.
Oh, trust me, I know.
And why are you wanting to get out of town so quickly, if you don't mind my asking?
Why are you asking so many questions?
Well, we're going to be on the road for the next few days. Might as well get to know each other.
Yeah, maybe I should tell you in a few days over a song by a campfire.
Very well.
Probably on that note, for now, I should probably make haste. I've spent far too long in the same place. I'll see you in a couple of days.
On the run, are we?
I have never met the man on the run. He's a strange man, a strange fellow. You shall see you very soon. Kind of stretches, tries to really play it off. Yes, sir. Crazy times. And I'd like to kind of saunter out of the building while also looking rather sheepish.
Okay. So you head off out. Saga, Thoric, anything you'd like to do?
Do they have rooms in this place, or?
They do. Limited, but yes, they do.
Okay. Yeah, she'll ask for a room.
Okay.
Stay there for the night.
Okay. A room would cost you...
Oh, God.
How
much do I have the money?
About... it's going to cost you for the night 5 silver.
Okay. That's fine. Yep, I'll pay that. I just give over a gold coin. That's all I have.
Feeling flash.
That's all I have. Unless they give me change.
So they take the gold coin, give it a good look over, and then they palm you with 5 silver and also a key to a room upstairs. To reach it, there's a staircase that goes almost up and around what would have been the mast of the pirate ship, taking you to another floor where there's lodging and small rooms, only about 15 by 15 rooms with little beds and a desk and a small circular window looking out onto the docklands for your modest little room.
Okay. Well, before she does this, she goes to Thoric and says, "Was it curious, the halfling?"
Curious would be certainly a word for it.
I hope he's not going to cause us more trouble than anything else.
Well, old dwarf saying, where there's gold, there's trouble. And if it's gold he's after, then it's certainly trouble he'll find. I think you might be right in saying that he could be running from something or someone, possibly.
He's not exactly subtle.
No, definitely not. Well, I might be continuing some more work around the city. If you need to find me, I'll. Wayne, I have, as one of my background features, the Shelter of the Faithful, where
Yes.
as an acolyte I can stay with people of my faith or similar. Is that possible in this city? Like, regardless of whether they're the exact sort of like deity, he is a cleric of light. So I would assume that possibly similar pantheons might be in the city that he can lend assistance to.
Yes, there would most definitely be. Most definitely be. This is a very big, very well-known city, so there will be some god or goddess that at least covers the sort of domain that you'd be looking to assist. So you'd be, in terms of your shelter and whatnot, I think you'd be perfectly adequate to find somewhere within the city.
I'll pass that on to Saga then and say, you'll like to find me around the religious district, as it were, or in some chapel or some hovel. If you need to find me before then, if not, I'll meet you in the market.
I'll meet you in the market.
Are you staying here?
Yes, I am.
Well, rest well, and I'll see you bright-eyed and bushy-tailed then.
I see you tomorrow. She's very uncomfortable, from what you can tell from a severe face. She is uncomfortable and ill at ease.
He takes another sip and goes, no, the day after tomorrow. Huh?
Of course. And she takes this moment to leave. And as she's going up to her room, she makes sure that no one's following her. She's obviously very paranoid.
Yes. You'll be pleased to know there is nobody following her. I think she's more intimidating than she is necessarily, you know, one to stalk.
True, but still, she's paranoid.
So, Saga, you go up to your room for the evening. Sergei, you find whatever kind of alcove you can within the city to hide and rest up. And Thoric, you go in search of a local temple that will shelter you for the evening in exchange for some services and some help. So you all retire for the night, ready for your oncoming adventure the day after tomorrow.